She's not lacking attention. She's drowning in it. 10 unread messages, 3 pending dinner invites, compliments piling up like spam. But there's one man she can't stop thinking about. The one who didn't chase, didn't beg, didn't try to compete. Why? Because he moved differently. While others fought for her time, he built a life she wanted to be part of. In this video, we're not teaching tricks. We're revealing the 8 brutal Stoic truths that make a woman choose you, even if she's surrounded by options. If you apply these, not only does she notice you, she respects you, obsesses over you, and never forgets you. Let's dive in. 1. Stop competing. Start commanding. When a man tries to win a woman by competing with other men, he's already lost. Because the moment you enter the race for her validation, you make her the prize and yourself the contestant. And no king begs to be crowned. The truth is, most men operate from fear. Fear of losing her, fear of not being enough, fear that another man might say something funnier, dress sharper, or show more interest. So they start chasing, commenting, complimenting, overinvesting. But in that very chase, they betray their own value. They become one of many. What Stoic men understand is this: a woman doesn't choose based on who tries the hardest. She chooses based on who feels the most grounded, the man who doesn't chase her because he's already pursuing his purpose, the man who doesn't compete because he doesn't see her attention as the prize but as a choice. And when she senses that, something shifts in her psychology. Competing for her affection triggers her ego. But commanding her attention through presence activates her admiration. This doesn't mean you ignore her or treat her with cold detachment. It means you stop adjusting your schedule, your tone, and your priorities just to appeal to her. Because every time you rearrange your life for her, she feels it. And deep inside, it tells her one thing: you have no life of your own. That's when she starts testing you, canceling plans last minute, responding slower, flirting with ambiguity. Not because she's cruel, but because she wants to know if you'll bend. The man who stops competing is the one who stays still in the storm. While others lose themselves trying to be enough, he remains grounded, anchored. And that groundedness becomes magnetic. She'll feel pulled toward it, not because you're forcing anything, but because your refusal to chase makes her wonder, why doesn't he need me? You create desire not by proving yourself to her, but by proving to yourself that you're already whole, with or without her. That's power. That's confidence. And that's exactly what makes a woman stop scrolling past your name and start thinking deeply about why you feel different. In a world where men are programmed to compete for a woman's attention, the rare man who stands in his own identity becomes unforgettable. Don't fight for her. Focus on your frequency. The right woman will tune in without you having to raise your voice. 2. Detach from the outcome, control the frame. Detachment is not indifference. It's discipline. It's the power to care without crumbling. And in the realm of modern dating, it's your greatest advantage. When a man is emotionally attached to the outcome, will she respond? Will she pick me? Will she commit? He begins making decisions from a place of fear. That fear leaks into every word he types, every gesture he offers, every moment of silence he can't handle. And she feels it. Women are intuitive. They may not consciously articulate it, but they pick up on emotional volatility. The man who checks his phone obsessively, double texts, over-explains, and nervously adjusts to her mood, he becomes predictable, replaceable. But the detached man? He operates from a different dimension. He doesn't check her story out of obsession. He doesn't scroll through her feed hoping for signs. He doesn't lose sleep when her energy changes, because he's grounded in something deeper. His purpose? When you detach from the outcome, you shift the entire dynamic. You stop trying to control her reactions, and you start owning your frame. This is the difference between emotional dependence and Stoic leadership. The former needs her to respond to feel whole. The latter is whole regardless of whether she responds. This doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care correctly. You're not investing all your identity into one woman. You're not collapsing your schedule because she flaked. You're not losing your fire just because she's cold. That's emotional self-regulation, and women crave it more than they'll admit. Because here's the paradox. When you're truly detached, she becomes curious. She starts wondering why you didn't react, why you didn't chase, why your energy didn't shift with hers. And in that mystery, she feels something rare, not power over you, but attraction to your strength. She realizes she can't knock you off your center, and that unnerves her in the best way. It makes her lean in, test less, respect more. Because the man who doesn't flinch when she pulls away is the man who isn't afraid to lose her. And that is the man she doesn't want to lose. So detach. Not to manipulate, but to master yourself. Detach so your power stays with you, not in her hands. Detach so you can love from abundance, not from emptiness. Because when you control your internal world, the external one, including her, starts aligning in your favor. 3. Mystery is the new masculinity. In a world where everyone overshares, overposts, and overexplains, mystery is magnetic. Think about it. She gets attention non-stop. Messages, likes, compliments. Everyone trying to impress her with how available, funny, or charming they are. But what cuts through all that noise? Silence, the pause, the unanswered question. The man who doesn't give everything away. You don't have to play games. You have to hold back your full story. Not because you're hiding, but because you're intentional. Because you know your value and you don't need to spill it all at once. This is where most men get it wrong. They confuse availability with connection. They think the more they share, the more she'll like them. But what actually happens is she places them in the same category as every other guy. Predictable, obvious, boring. Mystery makes you unforgettable. Not because you're elusive for attention, but because your life is bigger than her curiosity. Because you move with purpose. Because you don't explain every delay in your reply. You don't react emotionally to every test. You let your presence speak more through the unknown than the known. And this is important. Mystery is not silence. It's depth. It's the weight behind your words. It's when she walks away from the conversation with more questions than answers. It's when she tells her friends, I can't figure him out. That's the seed of obsession. When every other man is offering all his cards up front, you become the only one worth exploring. You don't need to fabricate drama. You just need to not be an open book. Let her earn chapters. Let her lean in. Because when she doesn't fully know you, she starts building her own mental image of who you are. And if you've grounded yourself in confidence, discipline, and direction, that image becomes captivating. Not because you told her who you are, but because she felt it without needing full access. The men she forgets are loud. The man she remembers is layered. So stop trying to be understood in every moment. Start living in a way that makes her want to understand you more. Because mystery isn't about withholding love. It's about earning depth. And when you become that experience, she'll never look at another man the same again. 4. Build a life that can't be interrupted. You want to stand out in a world of men who drop everything for a text? Build a life so full of purpose, so driven by vision, that her presence has to earn a space in it. Let's get one thing straight. Women do not fall for men who make them their center. They fall for men who are already moving, building, evolving, creating. Men whose lives don't pause for attraction, but whose rhythm pulls her in like a current. The tragedy is most men stop their grind the moment they feel connection. Suddenly, she's the priority. Workouts slip, passion projects pause, sleep schedules derail, you think you're being attentive. She sees a man who just lost his frame. A woman will admire your attention, but she will respect your mission. And the moment she senses that your life bends for her emotions, she knows she has power, and respect starts to fade. So what do you do instead? You live a life where your gym time is sacred, where your work is a priority, where your solitude isn't negotiable, where every day has structure. Because when you have direction, your time becomes a privilege. And when your time is a privilege, she values every second of it. This doesn't mean being cold, it means being centered. When she enters your world, it should feel like entering a space already burning with momentum. She should feel like she's joining something, not becoming it. That's what makes her lean in. That's what makes her drop the games. Because now she's not testing if you'll change for her. She's asking if she's good enough to join the life you already live. And here's the secret most men never learn. The more grounded you are in your routine, the more freedom she feels around you. Why? Because women trust structure, they crave security. Not just emotional, but directional. If you're going somewhere, She feels safe following. If she's the center of your universe, she will leave. If she's allowed into a universe already moving, she'll orbit it in awe. So build your life, protect your time, guard your energy. Because the moment she sees that you'd rather build your empire than break your focus for her mood, that's the moment she starts chasing you. 5. Speak to her identity, not her image. She already knows she's beautiful. She's heard it so many times, it barely registers. Complimenting her looks is like complimenting a sunset. It's obvious, unoriginal, and expected. But the man who sees past her beauty, the one who speaks to her identity, that man becomes unforgettable. Most men aim for what's easy to observe: her curves, her smile, her outfit. But when you say, "You look great tonight," it barely scratches her surface. Now say, "There's something in your eyes that tells me you've had to carry more than most people realize." That lands. Why? Because you're not speaking to her ego. You're speaking to her essence. This is where depth comes in. Most guys don't even try to understand a woman's internal world. They operate at surface level, default compliments, low effort conversation, shallow flirtation, and they wonder why they're forgettable. But the Stoic man observes the pauses in her words, the hesitation behind her laugh, the subtle shift in energy when something touches a nerve. He asks questions not to get answers, but to understand her rhythm. When you speak to her identity, you offer her something rare, a mirror to her real self. She might be used to attention, but she's starving to feel seen. Here's what happens next. You stop being the guy she texts out of boredom. You become the man she craves in moments of reflection, the one who heard her when she didn't even know she was speaking. And you don't need poetry. You need presence. Ask better questions. What keeps you up at night? What did you have to unlearn growing up? What's something no one's ever asked you, but you wish they would? That's how you shift from charming to captivating, from nice to necessary. Because when a woman feels emotionally understood, she opens doors no one else even knew existed. You bypass the walls she built, not with pressure, not with compliments, but with curiosity. Speak to the mind, and her body follows. Speak only to the body, and her mind drifts elsewhere. So remember, don't flatter her, understand her. Don't echo what every man says. Say what only a grounded, observing, intentional man would notice. And she will remember that, not for a night, but for years. 6. Scarcity creates obsession. What's rare is valued. What's common is ignored. This law applies to diamonds, time, and yes, your presence. Most men are always available. They reply instantly. They double text. They're online all day. And in doing so, they cheapen their value. Because the moment you become predictable, you become replaceable. Scarcity is not about being emotionally distant. It's about being selective with access. It's not game playing. It's energy protection. When she realizes you're not always reachable, her mind starts to work. Where is he? What's he doing? Who has his attention? And in those questions, desire blooms. Not because you tried harder, but because you disengaged from the need to be seen. That's what makes you powerful. Here's what most men don't understand. Women aren't attracted to availability. They're attracted to gravity. The silent pull of a man who's deeply invested in something other than her. Scarcity makes you memorable. It forces her to slow down and lean in. It disrupts her pattern of constant validation and gives her something she hasn't felt in a while: curiosity. But understand this, scarcity must be authentic. It doesn't mean ghosting, it means your time is occupied by something real. Your goals, your vision, your healing, your grind. You don't disappear to provoke her. You disappear because your time is not for sale. And when she realizes that, she feels it in her gut, the absence, the stillness, the weight of your silence. She starts thinking deeper, replaying conversations, wondering what you're thinking. You create a void, and her mind rushes to fill it. She becomes obsessed, not because you gave her everything, but because you made your energy feel earned. And that kind of man, he's not forgettable, he's haunting. 7. Emotionally grounded men win. She's used to men who react, who spiral when she pulls away, who lose their cool when tested. But the man who stays still while she storms, that man, he shakes her entire framework. Emotional grounding is not emotional numbness, it's emotional mastery. It means when she sends a cold message, you don't crumble. When she pulls back, you don't chase. When she provokes, you don't bite. You remain calm, not because you don't care, but because you care about your peace more than her reaction. And that control, it changes everything. She doesn't know what to do with a man who can't be moved by her mood. It unsettles her, intrigues her, forces her to self-reflect. Because you've broken her pattern. You're not like the rest. And women crave emotional contrast. In a world where men are either robotic or reactive, a grounded man is a storm in slow motion. Controlled chaos, deep presence, quiet power. He speaks less, observes more, acts with intent. His energy doesn't spike to get attention. It's steady, silent, dominant. And that emotional discipline, it creates safety, not the safety of a pushover, the safety of a man who doesn't flinch under pressure. A man who chooses his response with precision, not panic. This is what makes her feel something new. Not butterflies, but respect. When you're emotionally grounded, she doesn't control the tempo. You do. And she won't admit it. But that structure, that calm, that stillness, that's what she's been craving all along. 8. Become the experience no one else can offer. You don't want to be the man she dates. You want to be the man she remembers. The experience she compares everyone else to. The one who didn't just give her attention, but gave her depth, challenge, and clarity. Here's the truth. Women don't stay for looks, or money, or flowers. They stay for how you make them feel about themselves. Most guys give validation, you give expansion, you become the experience when you live with so much internal richness that being around you feels like reading a new chapter of her own story. When she's with you, she feels seen. Not because you flatter her, but because you reflect her complexity. You ask what no one else dares to. You reveal emotions she never voiced. You slow her down when the world keeps speeding up. You don't try to win her over. You invite her into your rhythm. And when she leaves, she doesn't just miss your presence. She misses how she felt around you. Her nervous system remembers the calm. Her mind remembers the clarity. Her body remembers the way she didn't have to perform. You didn't just date her, you shifted her. So stop trying to be the best man she meets. Be the only one she can't forget. Because men can be replaced. But an experience? That lingers like a ghost. If you've made it to the end, you already know what's broken in modern dating. And it's not you. It's the belief that more effort makes you worthy. That ends now. Comment, I choose control if you're done chasing and ready to become the man she chooses, even when she has 1,000 options. And if you want to take this deeper, grab the Stoic Dating Blueprint ebook linked in the description. It's not for everyone. It's for men ready to reclaim their edge, rebuild their identity, and finally stop settling. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share this truth with a brother who needs it. Because in a world full of noise, the rare man doesn't compete. He becomes the standard.